Hi, it's Jenny from the Missouri Star Quilt Company. We've got a fun idea for you today using the honey bun. The honey bun is a 1.5 inch strip of an entire line of fabric, all wrapped into one cute little honey bun. So what you're going to do is you're going to open up that honey bun and you're going to match some strip sets together for this. What we're going to do, we're going to use this easy circle cut ruler. We love this ruler. It makes just the best circles ever. And we've got the wonderful cutter that goes with it. Let me see if I got one here. Here it is in its package, so you can see what it looks like. It's available here at the Missouri Star Quilt Company. And what we're going to do is we are going to make an adorable circle square quilt. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some of these honey bun strips and we're going to sew them together. If you sew 10 of them together, you can get 4 10-inch blocks, because the strip, remember, is 40 inches long. And so if you sew 10 of these together, 4 times 10, 40. So we're going to sew these together in strips of, I probably did them in strips of 4. And let me show you just how I did that. So you lay the two together and you sew a 1/4 inch line just along to sew your strips together. Then you press it open, and then you're going to sew 2 sets of 2 together and press it open, and then you'll just keep adding to that. You know, you'll sew another set of 4, and you want to make sure that you get your colors, you know, intermixed up so you don't have any right on each other. And you're going to sew 10 strips together, and you'll cut them in 10-inch blocks. So now we've made this wonderful 10-inch blocks of honey bun strips right here, and we're going to cut it with the circle cut. So we fold it in half, just nicely in half. We grab our circle cut ruler, and remember that right here on the line it says fabric fold line, and there's a dark line right there. And what we're going to put these on is a 10-inch layer cake block. So for this project you're going to need a honey bun and a layer cake block that's a solid. We love that Moda makes these solids. And so we're going to lay this ruler on here, and we are going to cut this out on the 6th line, on the 6-inch line, and you just want to make sure you're pretty even here, because what we're going to do is we're going to make 2 blocks out of this one. Now this circle cutter makes it so, it's just so easy to work with. It has this little space right here that fits in the groove, so you just push that little blade down there, and you're just going to make sure your fingers are out of the way. We don't want to lose any fingers, and we're just going to roll this down like this. And it does one little cut around, and hopefully we cut all the way through it. Well, almost. There we go. Let me cut these little, wherever we have a seam, we probably need to press a little bit harder so that we make sure that we've got a nice round circle. And I guess I just didn't press quite hard enough. Oh, one more little snag. I'd worry about this, but I know this happens to you at home as well. So now what we're going to do is we're going to lay this circle right here on this square. When I go to center them up, what I'll do is I'll take my square and I'll fold it and just finger crease a little line, and then I'll fold it again so that you can see the center of my block, and I'll be able to center it up on there. So you can do the same thing with your little circle where you fold it, and you can kind of match that up on the center of there, so you know that that's pretty well in the center. Isn't that adorable? Now there are several ways. Well, actually, let me start here. What we're going to do with this then is we are going to use this outside one as the next block. And so when we put these together, I mean, it's just going to look so cute. It's going to look opposites. There are several ways to finish these. You can sew around the outside edge about a 1/4 inch in and do a raw edge applique, which is very, very cute. Or you can just sew this down using a blanket stitch or a zigzag, something that will attach it down and it won't leave quite a raw edge on it. The other thing you could do if you were really industrious is you could actually do a kind of needle turn applique on this where you fold it under and do that. But for this project, I think I'm just going to, I'll probably do a finished stitch around here, blanket stitch or something like that, because I like it a little more finished. So now that we've got these on here, let's head over to the sewing machine. I'll show you how I stitch them on, and we'll sew these two together. I'm not going to put the whole quilt together. I've got a million projects I'm working on right now because it is that season that we're all working on a lot of projects. But I'll show you how we sew these together and sew these blocks so that you can see how it's going to come together in a big quilt. It's just adorable. So join me at the machine. So we're here at the sewing machine, and I am going to use a blanket stitch, and I want to check to make sure it's the right width that I want it and how it's going to look. So I just grab a little piece of scrap fabric and sew the stitch on there a little bit, and you can see this is what a blanket stitch looks like. Here it's got that, you know, where it goes up and grabs that fabric, and I like this one. See, you can see that I lengthened it a little bit. So now we're going to do that on this round piece in the middle of this quilt. Now it's probably a good idea to pin this on here so that it doesn't move around too much. There we go. And we're just going to go ahead and start. You want your blanket stitch to be on the edge of the fabric, and you'll see this as it comes out from under the presser foot, how it's going to look. Okay, so I'm just going to finish this up, and I'm going to sew this one and the other block, and then we'll join back together and see what we've got. So as you can see, these were so cute that I couldn't resist. I went ahead and made another set. So now we have 4 together. This will enable you to see a little bit more what a quilt will look like. This is the little stitch I used right here. It's a little blanket stitch around there, and it just looks so cute together. So we're gonna go to the sewing machine and we're gonna sew these 2 together right here, and then we'll sew the bottom 2 together, and then we'll sew the 2 rows together. So join me over at the sewing machine. All right, so here we are at the sewing machine. We're going to sew a 1/4 inch. Sew our seam together, catching, at this point it's all 3 blocks because it's the stripped block and the 2 solids. So you can see we have sewn these together. We'll take our pins out because they're all held down now. And then what we're going to do is we're going to sew the next 2 together. And this is kind of fun. Because of the strips on this, we can decide if we want them to be straight, you know, and match that, or if we want to turn them and go a different direction. What are we thinking here? I think we'll do it straight. I'm not feeling that wild today. So we'll go ahead and sew this down. So much of what you do sewing-wise really does depend on how you feel. So, I just don't feel that wild. I know you're surprised and shocked. All right, so now we've got these. So let's go ahead and sew these together, and we make a square, the first 4 patch of our big quilt. This will probably end up a table topper though. We can take some more of that honey bun and strip it and make a cute little piano key border for it. This is really a versatile pattern, really fun. Now you check to make sure those middle seams are lined up, especially when you do a table topper or a 4 patch. You want to make sure that that middle where they come together is really lined up well. And so this, you can easily feel these have nested. So they've laid together very nicely. And then we'll go over to the ironing board and see, press them out and see how they look. All right, so we're pressing these down. Helps if your pins are out so that you don't run into a pin. But see, that matches up real nicely there in the center. I've got some threads to trim. And we're gonna head over to the cutting table. Now you can see how cute this would be. This is darling, just like this. I mean, it'd be so cute on a little table topper on this. Put a little piano key border or a solid border around it. The other thing that I want to remind you of is that the circle cut stuff will work really well with a charm pack and a layer cake as well. You just check that your circle so that you have a little bit of extra. You put the circle on one block and the outside on the other block, and you can do that with a charm pack. This would be a darling little girl's quilt. You can finish it with the blanket stitch, you can finish it raw edge, you know, it's just very versatile block. We just love this circle cut ruler. This is a great little ruler, and we hope you enjoy this tutorial from the Missouri Star Quilt Company.